Welcome back to my channel. Hopefully you guys watched my first video because this is the part 2 to my first video. So if you didn't, click the link in my bio and go watch that first. But so let me tell you guys about what happened after my baby went to the ICU. Yeah, that morning he stopped breathing. So we're in the ICU now, and I literally called everyone I felt that I needed to call. My mom and his godmother mainly. And like I'm literally on my P's and Q's. I am not trusting a soul in this hospital with my kid. Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know, everything was just happening too quick and it didn't make sense to me. Something that I didn't say in my last video, Jay had the 2 dopest nurses ever the morning he stopped breathing, literally. And it was like a really busy night for them. And it was a nurse and a nurse in training. And I remember exactly what they looked like. So if I was to see them, like I'd literally go say what up. And they literally checked on us, like, oh, we're gonna go to lunch. Like, you guys are good? I'm like, yeah, I know we're good. Like, he's literally just here laying down. And they went on break. When they came back from break, they see us going down the hall to the ICU because Jay had stopped breathing, got revived, and now we're going to the ICU. And they were like literally so confused, and I felt like they felt kind of bad because they felt like, wow, if I hadn't have gone on break, like this wouldn't have happened. And that's why I say God works in mysterious ways, because they're probably right. If they hadn't have gone on break, it probably wouldn't have happened, or it would have happened differently. But I truly believe things are meant to happen the way God wants them to happen. So maybe that's why they went on break when they did. But regardless, like, I felt like she felt really guilty, and I just hope she knows that she had no reason to feel guilty whatsoever. Dopest nurses ever, literally, like hands down, no debate. They made our SickKids experience that much greater. So just remember that and that only. But it kind of sucked though, because after Jay left to the ICU, when he did go back on a regular floor, we were in the kidney floor, so we never saw those nurses again. But anyways, I sent a message to my CS family, and if you don't know, they're like basically family members that have a kid like mine, you know? And they literally helped me out. So the first message I sent was, help me out, guys. I don't trust this hospital with my kid. I need all the advice that I can and things to watch out for that I can get. Thank you in advance. P.S. Don't comment on my Facebook asking how he's doing, because I don't tell my Facebook about Jay. Inbox me directly or ask me here. I just basically needed advice, like things to watch out for, things that they went through and did that I shouldn't do. Like, everything's a learning experience, and luckily I wasn't the only parent with a child that had some type of kidney issue. And about the Facebook part, I post pictures of Jake all over my Facebook. I'm so proud of my son, literally so proud of my son. But some people are just very bad-minded. They really are. So I don't tell everyone about Jay's situation. Like, you'll see a tiny 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and you'll wonder why is he so small, but you'll never know why, because it's not your business, you know? Like, I never started talking about, no, let me rephrase that. I've always talked about Jay's situation when I'm asked, but for some reason, and I'm really, like, and truly one of the friendliest people you'll ever meet, people are always too scared to ask me. They rather ask one of my friends or like my mom, and like, it's just like you're asking people that don't have the right answer. And if you are my true friend, you know not to answer questions about Jay. You know to direct them to me, because your answer is gonna likely piss me off, and it's not gonna be completely accurate. So yeah, I just kept Jay's medical business off of Facebook completely. Like, I started posting him less, or start putting up throwbacks or whatever the case is. So everyone knew that, or videos of him in the hospital with my mom. So everyone probably knew that he was in the hospital, but didn't know why. And I made sure of that, and I just didn't want like don't get me wrong, my CS family is so supportive, like, and like that's the thing. They'll attack your Facebook with love posts about your kid and staying strong and da-da-da-da. And I just didn't want everyone else on my Facebook to be curious, because Jamaicans are nosy and I'm not with it. But like, for example, there's probably bare people family wise that watch these videos but have never said a word to me about my son. Like, it's just really weird like that. Not even a sorry for your loss, you know? But not my business, couldn't care less. And then I sent them the morning that Jay was in the ICU, I sent them a long post. This is really blurry, so trust me, I can read, but it's just like blurry. Okay, so it says, okay guys, the more input I get, the better. First off, thank you guys for checking in on him. Literally my second family. Love you all so damn much, man. This has been so hard. Jay went from playing yesterday to being in the ICU right now. So last night, Jay's face started getting very puffy, and by the time it was like morning time, they were worried because he sounded like he was working really hard to breathe. Now let's fast forward. They change his diaper and Jay has a sore bum, so he starts panicking and I grab him from the nurses mid diaper change to calm him down. I'm saying to the nurses, guys, he's working too hard. Guys, he's not giving me eye contact. Something's wrong. Guys, he's not. Okay. One nurse goes and weighs his diaper and the other one leaves the room and one is standing behind. Yo, I get so like I get so mad when I think back to this. Like, I honestly do. And I really hope Jay doesn't. Like, I hope he doesn't get mad when he thinks about this, because I shouldn't get mad when I think about this, but I'm just so pissed off about what my kid went through, because I just feel like he's so small and so innocent and so sweet, and he didn't deserve half of what he went through. But I can't keep that type of anger because I'll never get over it. And I'm not an angry, actually I am an angry person, that was a lie. But anyways, and the other one leaves the room, and one is standing behind me just looking, and Jayshawn collapses and stops breathing. Now I'm panicking. Literally put his little body on the bed and get up and ran out the room crying. After like 5 or so minutes, he's back and breathing, and now here we are in the ICU. He is awake but breathing hard, face still puffy, took some of the milk back out of his G tube. That means we're basically venting his tube. So he has a feeding tube in his stomach, and we like add his extension to it and open it up, and it kind of just like some stuff come out. Whatever's in his tummy will like slowly come out on its own. And a lot came out that night. That morning. Giving him medicine to make him pee, and he's hooked up to a breathing mask, and Jay was very vexed about that. He did not like anything on his face. They wanted to run his IV fluids at 35, and I said no, so they put it at 15. Now here we are. No, now they think there's fluid in his lungs, and his heart looks bigger than it should be on x-ray. So yeah, so okay, let's start from the end and go back up. So his heart looks bigger on x-ray. I feel like that has nothing at all to do with what he was going through at the time. I feel like it has to do with the fact that he's prematurely aging, and he probably has a big man heart, although he's a little kid. So like at the time I was worried about that, because I was just like, his heart looks bigger on, like, what do you mean? But it's probably been like that for most of his life, and I would have never known because his heart's never been looked at. The fluid in his lungs stressed me out because it's crazy. Like, I'm still hearing my kid's dehydrated, but yet looking at him, he looks like a swollen like beluga whale. And how are his kidneys still dry when every other part of him has bare liquid in it? So like literally, like I pressed down on his arm and it would leave the dent of where I pressed down. Like that's how puffy my child was. So it just didn't make sense to me. Yeah, the comments that I got under this post low-key stressed me out. They really did, because a couple of families were saying like, oh wow, this sounds very like similar to what I went through with my kid. They died like a couple days after, and I was just like, pardon, like what, you know? And they were definitely keeping it real, and they sent a lot of prayers and like a lot of love, and like some parents couldn't relate to it at all because their kids didn't have kidney issues. But the most helpful part was like my first post saying help me out guys is what had me getting them to change his IV fluid from 35 to 50. So it did help, don't get me wrong, but it just made Jay's situation more real to me. That day my mom came and saw Jay at like 3 p.m. and yeah, my baby was puffy and he was asleep. He was like dead asleep. That whole day, like I stayed in bed with Jay and just like, cause once he fell asleep, he was knocked out. He was in a very deep sleep. And I just stayed in bed with him and cuddled him, basically, and slept with him and cried with him and cried for him, not even with him, for him, and called it a day. There's one thing I can say that I'm very happy that I didn't do was, like, this whole time we were there, I just felt like, not to say that I was pressured, but it was a lot of like, oh, so if something happens to Jay and he needs to be revived, like, what do you want us to do? Revive him. That was my answer every single time. Like, I'm not leaving here without my kid. Revive him. You know? And I felt like it was, in a sense, preparing me to acknowledge that, hey, Khadijah, your kid's kidneys are failing. And once they fail, they're going to reach a point where there's not even a point to even try and save him. You have to let him go, you know? So I feel like they were trying to prepare me for that. But, yo, don't try and do things before it's time. Like, because imagine if I signed a do not resuscitate thing. Jay wouldn't have been resuscitated that night. You think that was Jay's time to die? Are you crazy? Absolutely not. So, just don't let anyone ever, and not to say that they were pressuring me, but it was like a constant reminder conversation that was had. So don't do things till you're ready to do them or till you feel like it's right to do them, because later on I did make the decision that, okay, if something does happen to Jay, like, I'm gonna let him go. You know what I mean? It definitely wasn't then, though, because that wasn't Jay's time. Jay was in the ICU for that whole day, and then he ended up coming around, if I remember correctly, that night. Actually, no, Jay stayed that night in the ICU too. So he was in the ICU for over 24 hours, which I think was mandatory. And then he went to a regular room. But now he was put on the kidney floor with the kidney specialist, where he should have been the whole time. Because before he was on the pediatric floor, which is cool. Like, you know what I mean? These people are so nice. Like, the nurses were so nice, but their knowledge is, like, general. Like, you know what I mean? And this kid is having kidney issues specifically, so his behind should have been on the kidney floor the whole time. So now, like, things are starting to make sense. I'm gonna put in some videos of, I'm gonna put in a video of my baby after the ICU, which makes me so happy, because this is when I was realizing that he was coming back. Like I was getting my baby back, you know, because Jay was, like, literally laying in bed for majority of the time, like, just not doing anything. Like, and if you know Jay, this is not Jay. Jay is someone that is walk about like his mom. Like, he just doesn't know how to stay still, wants to be in everything, in everyone's mix, know what everyone's doing, like, you know what I mean? So to see him, like, laying there and just, like, tapped out of life, like, I couldn't, my heart couldn't handle it. But let me put in this video.
There one TV and there one
And I also think that Jay was, like, literally scared of people after. Like, if you know my son, like, I have the type of kid that is too friendly. He's literally just like me. Like, we're so friendly. I can have a conversation with anyone, anywhere, about anything. Like, that's literally how I am. You know what I mean? And my mom's like that too, and my son's like that too. Like, we would literally go to Walmart, and the cashiers would have to hold him. And then I'd go to take him back, and he'd be, like, trying to pull away from me and embarrassing me in Walmart. Like, you know? Like, okay. We went to Forever 21, and I was walking through the aisles or whatever, and he held on to this little old white lady and wouldn't let the lady go until she took him. And the white lady literally took him and was walking around the store with him because he didn't want to come back to me. He was literally, like, brushing me off and didn't want to come back to me. Like, you would really think I was a bad mom if you didn't know me. Another example. In the airport, we were flying back from Florida. His second time to Florida. We were flying back home. And this kid had, like, he's standing up in my hands or whatever, because, you know, seatbelt sign is off and he can be up. He's standing up in my lap or whatever, and he's looking at the people behind us, and he's, like, stretching himself to, like, go over there. So she ends up taking him, and yeah, when it came time to land, he didn't want to come back to me, so she held him till after we landed. Like, my kid is disgusting, okay? He's so spoiled. He's such a brat, but he's honestly so friendly and so loving, and he literally loves everybody. So when I see, like, nurses and stuff trying to, like, touch him and, like, he's getting scared, I'm just like, no, this is not Jay. Like, this is not Jay at all. But it made sense because at SickKids he was doing blood work often, and incident where he stopped breathing and like his bum was sore, so he was probably scared to get changed in general. So here, let me show you. This is an example of how clingy he was to me after everything happened.
Oh my god.
The next while in SickKids, like, it was literally just playing with like his milk intake and like cutting down on his milk intake. That's literally all it was. I'm gonna put as much videos in this as I can. He ended up going home for a week, and I was so excited. Oh my god, like the whole time, because one thing my kid's like known for is rolling around, going into cupboards, trying to take out the rice, trying to take out the flour, like like literally he's in everything. And at least on my Snapchat, he was in everything. And I wanted to go home to see if he would still be like that, because as soon as I take him home from daycare, what he does is takes off all his clothes and rolls in the kitchen. So I wanted to, like, minus the take off the clothes part, because no, leave your clothes on. But I wanted to bring him home really, really bad to see if he would roll back into the kitchen and go back to doing things that my Jay used to do. So I was super excited to bring him home this day, you know, because Jay hasn't been home at this point in months, and I was just so happy. All right, guys, the time everyone's been waiting for. Will Jay go to the kitchen? Dun dun dun. That night, though, he didn't roll in the kitchen. No, he literally just stayed there. And I was just like, okay, like, I might not ever get, not to say my baby back, but he might not ever go back to doing things that he used to do, and like that's okay, you know, because he's been through so much in these past couple months that it's like totally okay if he doesn't. Yo, that was hard. That was really, really hard. I don't know how I survived that, but you know, with God, you can do anything. After the week home, we were back at SickKids because I can't find the video for it though. But Jay was sleeping and he was holding his breath for 10 seconds. So in a whole minute, he only took 6 breaths, sometimes 5, you know? And that's like not normal. So he was back at SickKids and yeah, he was swelling up again. Here's a video of that. Hey, baby. Your head back, itchy. And it was just really hard, but one thing I loved about SickKids was the people that like tried to make your stay there more fun. So like they brought him this light up thing. It was like a really big like stand up thing that had mirrors and lights and fishies, and it was just super cute. And my Jay, my regular Jay before all of this, would have loved it. Like loved it. Because with his vision issues, he loves light and bubbles and like that type of stuff. But he didn't really respond to it much. But he would sit and, like, who knows? Maybe he did enjoy it. He did sit in front of it for hours with no problems.
Firefighters, so they've seen to it that a portion of your
Fix your
purchase
face.
at all of U.S. Firehouse Subs locations now goes toward providing life-saving equipment for first responders.
So I don't know, things just definitely changed and escalated really quickly. Also during this time, because if you knew, like, Jay qualified for Make-A-Wish Foundation and he was supposed to go on a Disney cruise last summer. So this would have been April, right? So he was supposed to go on a Disney cruise in like August, closer to his birthday. He was supposed to go on the Disney cruise, but then with his kidney failing, I contacted them and I was like, hey, like, my kid might not make it till then, so can we do something like quicker, sooner? Can we do Ripley's Aquarium? So it was the best thing ever. He ended up going to Ripley's with like 50 guests. It was a pirate theme party. It was absolutely beautiful. Like, everyone came, like my whole support system, the whole gang of them I truly have the dopest support system ever. And it was just great. It was truly, truly great. And my baby got to get his Make-A-Wish trip. Even though it was just to Ripley's, who gives a damn? Like, I really didn't even care at that point. I just wanted to celebrate him. And even after that, SickKids was supposed to throw him a party, but then his floor got shut down. So we ended up going home, and I threw him a party, but they like supplied everything, and they even got him a cake for free. And I'll post that too. It was honestly just amazing. And then after that, I made the decision that, like, with SickKids talking to me, and they're basically saying, you know, like getting me to realize, like, yeah, what his situation was, and that Jay would never, not to say go back to normal, but like things were just gonna continue getting worse. So I made the decision to go to Emily's house, and it's just so crazy because when I think about the decision to go to Emily's house, I just kept on saying, okay, but like after this I get to go home, right? Like if he starts getting better, I get to go home, right? Like I can bring him back home, right? And if anything goes wrong at Emily's house, I could bring him back here, right? Referring to SickKids. And they were like, yeah, like Khadijah, like no matter, whatever you want to do, like we're with it. If you don't like Emily's house and you want to go back to SickKids, cool. If you don't like Emily's house and you want to go home, cool. If Jay starts getting better and you want to go home, cool. You know, like they supported anything I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'll go to Emily's house. And yo, I'm not even going to call myself delusional, but I was just like holding on. I was really holding on. Like I really thought that my kid would get to go home and I'd start bringing him back to daycare and do things like how we used to. You know, so, but yeah, this is my baby's first day at Emily's house. Jay got to Emily's house on May 5th. Best nurses ever. And I'm mad at myself. I should have went to Emily's house sooner. I'm truly mad at myself about that. Emily's house was the best decision I've ever made because it just felt like home. It literally felt like home. They took such good care of my kid. I don't trust anyone with my son. Absolutely no one. You know? So the fact that I could leave Jay and go to the gym or do whatever I want to do, like I wasn't stuck there the way I was at SickKids, because I didn't leave Jay at all at SickKids, and I was like emotionally and mentally drained, you know. With Emily's house, I got to take breaks, and it was okay. They didn't make me feel bad for it either. They encouraged it. Like we get paid to take care of your kid, so go about your business. Like it's okay if you go and hang out with friends. Like you don't have to be with Jay 24/7. So Jay went to Emily's house on May 5th, and they didn't think he was gonna be there long because they thought Jay would die. But the way my kid's set up, he'll surprise you every single time because Jay didn't die till November. But yeah, that is the second half of my baby's story. There's so much more to say. There's so much more to tell, but that's why there'll be more videos. Shout out to my son, man. Like, you honestly, like, I can't even explain how proud I am of this kid. Like, I can't even begin to put it into words. Like, he literally makes me so proud. Like, I just love him to death. And that's why, like, my ultimate goal is to open my King J house basically after him. Because I wouldn't have made it through what I went through if it wasn't for Emily's house. Hands down, no debate. I wouldn't have survived it, okay? I honestly wouldn't have survived it. So, and I want to be that relief to another family one day. So I'm opening my King's J house. I don't care what anyone says. It's going to be the biggest hospice ever for kids, just like mine. But that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back with more. Make sure you like and comment and let me know what else you guys want to know.